Hello dear students, welcome to Practically. We bring learning alive. And in today's session, we are going to see 5 most important questions from the chapter Organisms and Populations. These questions have been decided as per the NCERT syllabus, which are very important for your Term 2 Biology CBSE exam. So let's begin with the first important question for today. Organisms may be conformers or regulators. Explain this statement and give one example of each. This question has 2 parts in it. Second part says, why are 3 more conformers than regulators in the animal world? So, let's see how to answer this question. So, first we have to explain the statement that organisms can be conformers or regulators. So, in order to first explain that, we need to tell in our answer what are regulators and what are conformers. Okay. So, regulators are organisms that are able to maintain homeostasis. This is a keyword over here. By physiological and behavioral means. So, regulators are organisms which can maintain homeostasis. And generally, all birds and mammals and some other lower vertebrate and invertebrates are able to maintain homeostasis by thermoregulation and osmoregulation. Example, in birds and mammals, as we know, our body temperature is maintained, human body temperature is maintained at 37 degrees Celsius by thermoregulation, and also there is osmoregulation, that is regulation of salt and other ions, water in our body. Yeah, but almost a majority, there is 99% of animals and nearly all plants cannot maintain the constant internal environment. That's why their body temperature is not constant and they are called as conformers. Example, fishes and frogs, etc. Okay. So in this way, organisms can be conformers or regulators. They will be either of the one depending upon whether they regulate their temperature or osmotic pressure. And why there are more conformers than regulators? Well, that is because conformers lack the capability to maintain constant internal environment or homeostasis. Okay, and this property is limited only to birds and mammals. So that's why. But we see in the organisms, whether in plant kingdom, animal kingdom, birds and mammals constitute very few percentage of the entire population of various organisms. Most of the other organisms are into other plants, microbes, or even the invertebrates or vertebrates. So that's why majority of them are conformers. Okay, so that is why, and because it is very energy expensive, like homeostasis, maintaining homeostasis is very energy expensive, it requires a lot of energy. That's why not many organisms are capable to do that. That's why there are more conformers in animal world than the regulators. Okay, so this is how you can explain the answer. Let's see the next important question. Discuss life history traits of an organism that have evolved in relation to the constraints imposed by biotic and abiotic factors in their habitats. Okay, so let's see what all points we need to cover in this answer. Yeah. So the life history traits of organism have evolved in relation to constraints imposed by biotic and abiotic factors. Now we all know what are biotic and abiotic factors. Biotic factors consist of organisms. Abiotic factors consist of non-living things like air, water, temperature, etc. So how they influence whether so evolution of population aims at improving reproductive fitness or Darwinian fitness to maximum in their habitats. That's how the evolution works, and they evolve. Generally, all the organisms, they evolve towards most efficient reproductive strategy. For example, organisms like Pacific salmon fish and bamboo breed only once in their lifetime. Okay. Whereas we have seen that birds and mammals breed many times during their lifetime. Okay. And also, if we see oyster and other fishes, they produce large number of small sized offspring, whereas birds and mammals produce small number of large size offspring. Okay, so that is because of the biotic and abiotic factors in their habitat that influences their reproductive capability and the number of organisms produced. Okay, so this is how you can justify this answer. Moving on towards the next question. And here's the next question. With the help of suitable diagram, describe the logistic population curve growth. Okay, this population curve growth is one of the most important type of topic, and a lot of questions are asked based on it. So let's see how to answer that. So here you can see the logistic growth curve in this image over here. So unlimited resources result in exponential growth curve. Okay, this is the exponential phase. It will keep on growing. That is possible only when there are unlimited resources. But we know that resources can never be unlimited. Resources will be limited as per the human population and other resources which are present in the nature. And beyond a certain number, no further growth is possible. This limit is called as carrying capacity, okay, which is denoted by K for that particular species in the habitat. For example, in this graph, you can see this line denotes the carrying capacity. It is the maximum capacity beyond which the growth cannot happen. That is why the growth stops over here. So, population growing in habitat with limited resources initially will show a lag phase. This phase over here is the lag phase, and followed by phases of increase and decrease. So there is an increase, steep increase, and then again they will decrease after a certain point once it reaches the carrying capacity. Okay, and this plot of n, that is the population density against time, will result in a sigmoid growth curve. As you can see, this is the sigmoid growth curve. This is also called as Verhulst-Pearl logistic growth curve. Do remember the name of scientists, because sometimes they can ask the question by this name itself. They will not say logistic population growth curve. They might say Verhulst-Pearl logistic growth curve. So we need to know, and this is the equation dn by dt is Rn k minus n by k. This equation you need to remember. Derivation is not, they will not ask you derivation of this, but this formula, this equation we need to remember. And what are the different terms in it? N is the population density at time t, and then R over here is the intrinsic rate of natural increase, and K is the carrying capacity, and K minus N by K, this factor is called as environmental resistance. Okay, so this we need to mention. Moving on towards the next question. It is observed that plant-animal interactions often involve co-evolution. Explain with the help of a suitable example. So yeah, how should we explain? Let's see. Yeah, so it has been observed in nature that the interaction between plant and animals is of mutual benefit, mutualism also it is called, and they involve co-evolution or mutualism. Okay, for example, flower and its pollinator species, they are connected to each other, both get benefited from each other. That's why both of them involve. And the example given over here is a fig tree. Okay, so the relationship between fig tree and species of wasp, which help them in their pollination. So a fig species can be pollinated only by its partner wasp species and no other species. So this is how they are connected, and that's why if the fig undergoes evolution, the wasp will also undergo evolution. That is called as co-evolution over here. Yeah, so how does it happen? So we need to mention this in the answer, that the female wasp uses fruit not only at the oviposition site but also uses developing seeds within the fruit for nourishing its larvae. Okay, so it's like so much dependent on the fig fruit. If you see the fig fruit, you'll come to know. So in this way, the wasp will pollinate the fig inflorescence while searching suitable egg laying site, and in return for the favor of pollination, fig offers wasp some of its developing seeds for food for developing wasp larvae. So in this, it provides food and shelter both to the wasp larvae. Here is the last question, important question from this chapter. How does age distribution help in study of population? And the part 2 of this question is, how does an age pyramid for the human population at a given point of time helps in policy makers in planning the future? Fine. Let's see how to answer. Yeah, so first we need to define what is age distribution or age composition. That is the relative abundance of organisms of various age groups in a population is called age distribution of the population. Okay, and then there are three kinds of population, as you can see: expanding population, stable population, and declining population. How do we define or explain it? Rapidly growing population, expanding population, it will have high birth rate and low death rate. Okay, so that's why there will be more number of young individuals in the population. So as you can see, there are three age groups: pre-reproductive, reproductive, and post-reproductive. So if this is wider, it means pre-reproductive age group is wider, young people are more. So this is an expanding population, as they are going to grow and then they're going to expand the population further. Then stationary population, it has equal birth and death rate, so that population shows zero population growth. As you can see here, this is a stable population. The pre-reproductive and reproductive age is almost same, and the post-reproductive is also very similar. So this is a stable population. And declining population, which is the one having higher death rate than birth rate. So young people will be less and old people will be more. So it is going to decrease for this. So this is a declining population. So these are the various types of population distribution according to age. Okay. Now, how does an age pyramid for human population at a given time and time helps the policymakers planning the future? Well, the age pyramid determines the growing status of the population. Okay, and that's why we can say that the population is growing, stabilizing, or declining. And based on this data or information, government can make various policy according to the population. So yeah, so ideal population is looked to build up a policy of a population pyramid in which population of pre-reproductive population would show a stable and would not lead to either depletion or other resources or human resources. So it will be more harmful if the population goes increasing very rapidly. So that can be a problem. So that's why the policy makers should take care that the population growth is under control, so that there are no exploitation of resources. In this way, age pyramid can help us to decide the policies. Fine. So these are the 5 important questions, and here are some important topics that you shouldn't miss from this chapter, and you should pay special attention while studying, as a lot of questions are expected from these topics. That is responses to abiotic factors, population attributes, predation, and Gauss's competitive exclusion principle. Okay, so prepare these topics properly. If you want help to prepare them, we have already covered these topics in our one-shot sessions on every chapter. If you have missed it, you can go back to the playlist on practically 11th and 12th channel and watch them. And if you have any doubt, then please do leave a comment. We are there to help you out. And we will be coming up with more such important questions and sample papers. So do stay tuned with us, and thank you for watching.